All right. The hour of 6:30 having arrived, I'd like to call the regular February meeting of the Columbus Planning Commission to order. Matt, will you take the roll?
Sure. Tylen.
Here.
Monday.
Present.
Lewis.
Here.
And Bastian.
Here.
I don't see Katie Ryan in there, but Paul Pifron is excused and so is Parpart. I think Katie's still planning on joining us, but we do have a quorum.
Okay, great. We will continue then. All right. Agenda item number 3 here, notice of open meeting. This was properly posted and advertised in accordance with state law. All right. Item 4.
Just a housekeeping item, there is somebody
Yes.
that is in the waiting room, and I tried to message them. So if anybody knows who Greg and Becky are.
I think I do, yeah. Okay. Boy Scouts are working on a communications merit badge. One of the things that they need to do is attend a city meeting. So
Okay.
we might have people attending for that purpose.
Okay, well, they're, for whatever reason, it's on their end that they're not getting, I was just worried it might be something for tonight since we do have a full agenda.
So-
Anyways, proceed, please.
All right. Let's see. Item 4, approve the agenda. Agendas were in your packets. I'll entertain a motion to either work with this one or amend.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda. This is Brad. I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second to work with this agenda. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the agenda for tonight is set. Item number 5, approve minutes from the January 14th meeting. Those are attached in your packets. After reviewing, I'll entertain a motion to approve or amend.
I'll move, this is Brad. I'll move to approve those minutes.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the minutes as presented signify by aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, approved the minutes from the 14th. All right, item 6 on the agenda is our open time for citizen comments. I see there are multiple people in the virtual waiting room. Are any of them here to comment, I guess, for the good of the order, as it were?
I would just note that anybody who wants to comment on any items can comment later on, specifically, obviously, those who are here for those items. But does anybody want to speak on behalf of citizen comment? Asking again, does anybody want to speak for citizen comment? And I guess I'll ask one last time, anybody want to speak on citizen comment? Hearing none.
Hearing none, we'll move to item 7, new business. See, we have multiple things on the agenda for the school district, so we'll start at the top. 7A, review and make recommendation to the Common Council regarding application by the Columbus School District for the proposed certified survey map for the Columbus Elementary School located at 200 Fuller Street.
Yeah, I'll kick this off, Commissioner or Chair Monday. So this is something that Plan Commission's been aware of. City staff has been working with the school district's project team for quite some time. And one of the things that we needed in order for the proposal at the elementary school to meet code was to basically erase I think there's like 11 parcels. Previously, we went through and vacated, when I say we, the city council went through and approved the vacation of the right-of-way that formerly ran through the middle of this site. So tonight, what the CSM will do will basically combine everything into one parcel and allow the school district to move forward with their project. Just a few things to note that I'll just kind of show here that kind of came up. There was an easement. I might need to mute some people. Excuse me, I'm just trying to mute. What in the- I think I got it. Yeah, you're right, mute all. I'll just. Sorry about that. Basically, the one thing I wanted to show the group was there was a storm sewer that previously ran through the elementary school site that was identified in the 2014 parking lot project that was completed by the school. However, we were out and about and we found an existing storm sewer that most likely ran down Fountain Street, was relocated when the school addition happened, I think back in the 60s, and was never recorded. So that was something that thankfully to the project team, they were actually able to map and provide an updated, and actually create an easement for the storm sewer that was basically in existence for, I don't know, 40 years. So that is on there. The other thing I wanted to note is you'll notice that there's floodplain shown on the CSM that was requested, and the school has already obtained a conditional LOMAR or LOMA from FEMA. So essentially, what will happen is obviously they'll go forward with the project. They'll pending approvals build the school, and then go back out and reshoot the grades to essentially verify that they built at the correct heights out of floodplain. The base flood elevation there is 840, and on their grading plans, everything's at least 842 or higher. So it should meet FEMA regulations as well. The shoreline zoning is shown on the map. That was more for informational purposes. The building project is so far away from the Second Ward Creek that really the shoreline zoning regulations really do not come into play, but it was something that we felt should be shown on the CSM just as if future development happens there, so they know what state or what local and state rules are in place. As part of the vacation, we asked them to provide, because their site plan shows that they purchased all the right-of-way. The neighbor here actually, by law, you basically split the right-of-way down the middle, and half goes to one side, half goes to the other. So the school district went forward and purchased the property from the vacated right-of-way. They've provided that. So what they show on the CSM, they have legal rights to. And really, that's I think everything that needs to be covered for the CSM. As I said, staff's reviewed this multiple times. We don't see any issues with it, obviously, and this is one of those necessary things that need to be done so the school district project can meet our codes. I guess with that, any questions?
I didn't see any comments from staff or the consulting engineer. I'm assuming that all those have been addressed. Yep.
We've been through that, yes.
Yep, okay.
Jason did have some comments and they've been addressed. So,
All right. I have no questions. Other commissioners, any questions about the certified survey map? All right, hearing none. The agenda item is to make recommendation to the Common Council regarding the application for the certified survey map. So I'll entertain a motion to either recommend approval or recommend denial to the Common Council.
I'll make a motion to recommend approval regarding the application by the Columbus School District for the proposed certified survey map for the Columbus Elementary School located at 200 Fuller Street.
I'll second that motion.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask for a voice vote. All those in favor of sending this to council for approval signify by aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed? None. I heard 4 ayes.
yeah.
Great. All right. Send it on to council, please, Matt. All right, next item, 7B, is conducting a public hearing regarding the request of Columbus School District for a conditional use permit to construct a building addition to the Columbus Elementary School at 200 Fuller Street. Matt, you want to introduce this, and then I'll open the hearing?
Sure. So by code, the zoning for the property is R3, which is single family. It might be surprising to some, but generally we do not have very many properties zoned public or institutional. So in a lot of cases, a lot of the uses are basically the same as the adjacent land uses, which is the case for, this is close to the R3 district. And under the R3 district, it basically schools are a conditional use. And when we get into the high school is basically the same thing, but it's zoned R2. So they have to go through this conditional use process as part of their site plan application. And obviously that's, why we're here tonight. So it's basically, with the site plan, basically they're required to submit the site plan, landscaping plan, lighting plan, stormwater grading plan, and all the plans have been submitted. I would note that, the project team has had bi-weekly meetings with city staff probably over the last month, well, probably going back 2-3 months now. I think it's been very helpful to kind of get a lot of those little things worked through rather than waiting to the last kind of leading up to this meeting. So there have been comments predominantly from our city engineer, and those comments have been addressed. So I guess with that, we can open the public hearing and see if anybody has anything they want to say about the proposed conditional use permit.
Thank you, Matt. All right, with that, I will open the public hearing regarding this request. At this time, any members of the public that have comments or questions are allowed to speak them. I'm hearing none, so I will call for a second time if anybody wishes to speak on this proposal. Was that a hand raise on the?
No.
Okay. All right, I'll call for a third and final time, if anybody wishes to speak on this proposal before I close the hearing. All right, hearing none, I will close this public hearing and move on to 7C, which is the commission's opportunity to deliberate and make recommendation to the council regarding this request. Commissioners, any questions or comments?
And I'll just, before, I can go through the site plan, but we also have their project team. Pretty much all of them are here, and also the superintendent of the school district is here. I think Troy, the building and grounds supervisor, is also here as well. So please let me know how you want me to proceed. I have the general, I'm sharing the screen right now for the site plan, so.
I guess it would be helpful if the project team would point out anything that has materially changed since
There were-
January, right? Last
and there were
month
some
they were
updates
here?
that have been recently made.
Okay, I think that would help to maybe freshen it in our minds, but I know there was an in-depth presentation just within the last couple months.
I guess, Allison or Mike, do you want to share the screen and give a brief overview, or is there anything you would like to add at this point?
Sure, I can go over some of the changes that have happened more recently. I think they're mostly site related. The architecture has largely remained the same, so I think that rendering that you passed by, that's still true to our design intent.
Okay.
But on the north side of the building, we did have to adjust the grades to the site by the playground, and that just relates to the floodplain restrictions, maintaining a consistent finished floor elevation on the exterior of the building for 15 feet. So that changes the site plan slightly. You can see, yeah, the paths, and there's some ramping there due to the elevation changes. So.
Shoot.
That was always part of the project, but it has just slightly shifted the location of it. And that came from our discussions with the city, as just mentioned before.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Mike Freilich with Kapoor and Associates. Just to add to what Allison mentioned about the site grading. So yeah, as everybody's aware, the school actually falls within the 100-year flood zone plain. And as part of the city's shoreline zoning, in addition to having to raise the building 2 feet above the floodplain elevation, which we're doing because we're matching floor elevations. Floodplain's at 840. The building's at 840, 240, I believe. So just naturally by matching those floor elevations, we'll be out of the floodplain. However, the shoreline zoning for the city requires that elevation is maintained a minimum of 15 feet outside of the building envelope. So originally with the project, we wanted to tuck the ramps and the staircases going back down to grade to the playground a little bit closer to the building. But with that 15 feet, it just kind of held us out there. So there's, I guess, I don't want to say dead space, but there's a little bit of open space outside the building, in particular on the north end of the gymnasium. And again, that's just because of that requirement of 15 feet. Otherwise, we would have snugged that up a little bit closer to the base of the building. Another item that was brought up in some review comments that we received from the city engineer is on the, I guess it'd be the northwest side of the site, where Fountain Avenue basically comes to a dead end at the school property. There is some off-site drainage that enters the school property from the back side of the residential lots. So one thing that hasn't been reflected on here yet is we are adding two inlets on that side of the school site to pick up that water and reroute it around the school and through our underground detention system. Previously, that water had more or less meandered through the site from northwest to southeast and entered the existing storm sewer system down by the school parking lot. However, with the building basically cutting that path for water off, we're going to now be picking that up via storm sewers. That was one of the, I think, the larger comments that'll affect some of the utility layout that we received. We're also in the process fine-tuning the stormwater management plan now that we're basically picking up this extra water. As far as the stormwater management for the site is concerned, with the school's desire to try to maintain as much open green space as possible, basically off the northeast corner of the new building addition, we decided to move forward with an underground stormwater detention system. Right now, the system is designed to consist of 96-inch diameter pipes with an 8-foot diameter pipe, be buried underground. The bottom 3 feet of that pipe will have a permanent pool of water in it. Reason for that permanent pool is we need to basically get our settling to take place within that water. So it's basically what you would envision as a normal detention pond, but basically it's just in pipes underneath the ground. And then from there, those pipes will fill up during storm events, and then we've got an outlet structure that'll basically hold that water back and release it at a lower rate to the municipal storm sewer that runs through the eastern side of the school site. Just trying to think about what else. As with the building addition, we're going to create a enclosed courtyard area.
Are you turned up? City council has this way to come with them. We're supposed to two rounds. Crazy one, me too.
All right, sorry about that.
That's all right. And then with the courtyard that's going to be created, it's basically going to function as some instructional space with some tiered concrete seating, so they can have some instruction outside. In addition to the instructional space to the south of that, the plan is for some poured-in-place rubber soft surface that'll also function as some additional playground equipment. I believe is planned for that area for the younger grades. As part of the stormwater management, since we are enclosing that area and we don't have any sort of overland flow path to exit water out of there in case of a heavy storm event, we have sized the storm sewer pipe exiting that, which will basically run underneath the new building addition to the underground storage system. That's being sized for a 100-year storm event. Typically with storm sewer, you design it for a 10-year storm event, and then anything excess of that would flow overland. In this case, since we don't have that, we're going to size that storm sewer a little bit larger than would typically be the case to help ensure that we don't have any water that backs up in there or have any water creeping up to the floor elevation of the building. As alluded to before, there's a existing storm sewer that runs down Fountain Street that was probably there all the time. So that's one of the storm sewers that we're basically routing around the building. We're not draining any new water to that sewer, basically just routing it around the building to get it back to where it's currently draining on the south side of the school. In addition to that storm sewer, the new water service for the building will come in the north side of the building. So we're bringing up a new water main from Fuller Street on the south, and that'll run up all the way around the building to basically the back side by the playground area and enter the building back by the back entrance. As part of that, we're also installing a new fire hydrant that'll be located basically off the southeast corner of the building addition on the front side of the school, so that we're able to have ample fire protection for the school building itself. I think those are all the major points. I'd be happy to answer any questions anybody has related to the site or stormwater management.
This is Brad Baston. What is the projected impact for parking, impact on the neighborhood with this expansion?
Well, there's no decrease in the amount of parking on the school site. None of the work will affect or take away any of the existing parking. As far as parking is concerned on the neighborhood streets, no analysis had been done to that effect. So I'm not sure if maybe the school district can touch on what they anticipate for increased enrollment and or increase in staff as a result of this expansion project.
Sure, I can talk to that. Thanks, Brad, for the question. As City Council, I'm not sure, or Planning Commission, I'm not sure if you're aware, but really what we're doing for the project for the school district is moving currently our K-5 into the new elementary. And so the students that we currently have on the site for the middle school, intermediate, middle school, that building is over to the elementary. It's the same staff that we currently have sharing that parking space and the parking that we have in those areas. So, and the same parents, same students, it's just, they're going to go into this building, which is on basically the same site. So we don't anticipate any differences in parking needs for staff or for parents.
Thank you, Annette.
Other questions from commissioners? I've got one, Matt.
Sure.
I know this is kind of an odd duck because of zoning, right? We don't have an appropriate zoning for
Well-
institutional. Can you just give us just a very brief insight into, did we use the same type of standards we might use for a commercial or industrial development? Just to kind of give us a sense of how that worked.
Of why we don't have?
No.
Oh.
When the site planning was done, were there some criteria that were laid out, or?
It was the criteria that we have under 11426 for
Okay.
conditional use permits.
Okay.
So, you're right, in that aspect, because it was a conditional use, it was treated like or the requirements of the conditional use kicked in, and for the most part, like the planning and the plans that they've submitted are probably similar to like a commercial, industrial, or other large-scale institutional type development. So, but really it was because they're a conditional use, it triggered what they had to submit for this plan. And quite frankly, they needed state-approved plans, so a lot of the stuff that we required, they pretty much had to do anyways. That
Yeah, good, that was just kind of a more
Yep.
for the record type question,
Yep.
so. All right, any other questions from Planning Commission? All right. Hearing no more questions, the item on the agenda is to make a recommendation to the council regarding the request for a conditional use permit to construct the building. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion on that.
Just want to double check, did we close the public hearing?
We did.
Yeah.
Okay.
If someone's making a motion, check your mic.
This Jason froze up. You having technical difficulties? Oh, there he is.
I'll make a motion that we recommend to the council regarding approval of the request of the Columbus School District for a conditional use permit to construct a building addition to the Columbus Elementary School located at 200 Fuller Street.
I'll second that.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any further comments or question from commission? Hearing none. All those in favor of recommending to council approval of the conditional use permit signify by aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, recommendation for approval passes. All right, second verse, same as the first here, looks like. Item 7D, public hearing regarding the request of the Columbus School District for a conditional use permit to construct a building addition to the Columbus High School located at 1164 Farnham. I did this a little backwards, I think, last time. We should probably maybe have somebody present the site before the public hearing. So let's go ahead and do that.
No, I mean, just go, yeah, I gave an overview of it. I'm not sure what you're, so this one is, also another project, obviously, we've been working with the school district on. Much less complex. I mean, you don't have to go through the CSM or vacating right away or finding hidden, storm sewer. So, this is essentially a small, or compared to the elementary school, a small addition to the front of the building, kind of where the arc comes up in front of the high school. Basically, an addition that basically sticks out, and then there will be reconfiguring the driveway in front of the school. This is also zoned R2, which is our medium density single-family zoning, and once again, it's a conditional use under that zoning designation. And to your point, your question, Uriah, that's what triggered the need for the conditional use, and our list of site plans that are required by our zoning code. So I guess with that, you can open the public hearing and see if anybody has any comments about the proposal at the high school. I should note also before you public, this has been posted, obviously, and noticed in the paper. I did not have anybody call me to see the plans or have any questions, which I kind of figured somebody would be curious, but that did not happen for this or I should have mentioned that before we had the public hearing for the elementary school as well. So.
Okay, no problem. All right, I will open the public hearing about this request. So if any members of the public have questions or comments to give about the site plan and building addition at the high school. All right, I'll ask second time if any member of the public wishes to speak regarding the building addition at the Columbus High School. Third and final request, if any member of the public wishes to speak regarding the addition to the Columbus High School. Hearing none, I will close the public hearing under item 7D and move on to 7E, which is for the commission to deliberate and make recommendation to the council regarding the request for the addition at the Columbus High School.
I guess I'll interject here quick. There was one comment that I know their city engineer made about potentially reconfiguring the angle which the driveway More so where the driveway comes in off of Farnham on the, I guess it would be kind of the north side here. Because it was, the angle might have been greater than, is it 75 degrees, making the left-hand turn in difficult. Jason asked that be considered, so I think that's the only thing that really I would ask that Michael or anybody else from the project team address. I don't know what happened with those discussions afterwards, so.
Yeah, I can touch on that a little bit. Actually, we had another engineer working on this project, but he did kind of give me a synopsis of where things stand. There were a handful of comments that were made by Jason Letha, the city engineer, all of which were addressed. However, this one, we do plan on having some additional discussion with Jason about this. The reason being is with this new layout, and I don't know if it's touched on or not, the loading dock through the school is going to be moved to the, I guess it'd be the south side of this building addition. So with this being the loading dock, we need to accommodate full-size semi-trucks to come in here for occasional deliveries. The intent with those deliveries would be that the truck would have to head south on Farnham Street, basically pull into the site, and then back up to the loading dock, and then exit the site at the southern driveway. So basically, the driveway is set up as a one-way in and one-way out. To accommodate a full-size semi-truck coming from the south and making a left-hand turn into the site, even by changing the angle of the driveway to make it, I think he had indicated a 75-degree angle, I guess is a little problematic just because of the drag of the trailer with a full-size truck. It really wants to swing out. So in order to make that work and end up at a 75-degree, you have to add a lot of extra paving to make that turn work, to make that left-hand turn movement work, if you're going at an angle coming from the south. So again, the intent would be for large trucks and I believe buses to mostly come from the north, enter the site, and then exit to the south. Which is why we kept the angle the way it is, since it is a one-way in at the north. The angle facilitates the movement of those large trucks a little bit better than trying to come in at a 75-degree angle. As you can imagine, if you have a truck coming south on Farnham Street, and we've got that driveway more close to a 90, you're forcing that truck to do a very tight S-turn to basically turn right into the site and then try to swing again back to the left, which is why we basically what we did is we maintained the alignment of the current driveway that's out there. The apron stayed in the same location, and the new paving that'll occur right in that area, basically where that tracking pad is shown with that gravel hatch that's on the screen right now, all of that lies within the current pavement, and then we're just basically cutting that off a little bit further to the east to accommodate the new addition and the student plaza area outside of that. So again, we did receive the comment, we've looked at it, but given the, I guess the intent and the use of these driveways, it's our recommendation that it remain as it is. And again, I'll work through that discussion further with the city engineer, Jason.
All right, thanks for that update. Commissioners, are there any questions that you have about the plan? For a little context, what's the, see that exiting driveway on the south seems kind of steep. What's the, but that might just be a function of the map scale here.
Yeah, as you get down to the that exit driveway, I believe it's open up the drawing right now, but I believe it's around, 6 to 7%. I know by the loading dock area where you can see the darker hatch, the concrete area, that's roughly at a 4%, so I think we're probably at a 7% or so. Basically, what we did is we maintained the existing slopes on the driveway that's out there right now, because again, where we're exiting is over the existing pavement of the driveway. So the grade on the exit driveway or the south driveway will be basically equal to or less than what currently exists.
Okay. The building still appears as if it's maybe 60 feet back from the right-of-way?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, just visualizing it, that essentially the addition takes up the space the canopy takes up now, more or less.
More or less, yes.
Okay. Any other questions, commissioners? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to make a recommendation to the council to approve or to grant or deny the conditional use permit for the high school addition.
This is Brad. I'll move to approve the conditional use permit for the addition of Columbus High School to the city council.
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any further question, discussion? Hearing none, those in favor of recommending to council approval for the conditional use permit for the high school, please signify by aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. All right.
All right, before we move to the next meeting, just wanted to let everybody from the school know that this is going on Monday, the 15th. This meeting was scheduled for the 16th, but there's an election that day, so they moved it up a day. So I just wanted to make everybody aware of that. It's already it's on the agenda. The agenda, I think, is either posted today or will be posted tomorrow. And there will be Zoom information on that agenda. I can send it out to the group. And then it would go to the following council meeting for approval, which would be March 2nd, excuse me. So just wanted to let everybody know, okay? All right, you can proceed.
All right. Item 7, what are we on? F, 7F. Public hearing regarding the request of Cave Enterprises Operations LLC for a conditional use permit to construct an additional drive-through facility on parcel number 11211-908.04 located at 101 Dick Street, AKA the Burger King, right?
Correct.
All right. Again, before I open the public hearing, maybe it's worth just giving a brief overview.
Yeah. Right now is the current site plan that they submitted. You can just zoom in. You can kind of see. So right now they have one. They've been approved for one drive-through, and as part of their recent fire, and they're trying to update their facility, they've decided they wanted to add a second drive-through. Essentially, they have made an application. as we're aware with other facilities that we've recently approved for drive-throughs, that drive-throughs require a conditional use. So generally speaking, that is why they've made their application. So tonight, I have scheduled their public hearing, and once again, I have not received any comments to date in favor or opposition of this project, so.
Okay, thank you, Matt. All right, that being presented, I will open up the public hearing regarding the conditional use for the addition of second, what are we calling this, a second drive-through? Additional drive-through facility.
Yeah.
It looks like a second lane
I mean,
adjacent to the building, not a second window, a second lane at the ordering
yeah.
location. So, all right, I will open the public hearing. So if any member of the public wishes to speak regarding this, this is your opportunity. All right, I'll ask for a second time if there is any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this site plan and conditional use permit. All right, and for the third and final time, I'll ask if there is any member of the public wishing to speak on the request on this conditional use permit. All right, hearing none, I'll close the public hearing and move on to item 7G, which is commission deliberation and recommendation to council regarding the conditional use permit. Commissioners, any questions?
I guess I'll interject here since leading up to this, I ended up with I guess, rather substantial question regarding their site plan. If you look at the site plan, you can kind of see the site plan shows this is the property boundary, but when you look at the GIS, which I'm pulling up here in a moment, you will see that the property boundary is actually different. And essentially what happened was, as part of the James Street project in 2016, the city acquired a parcel of land essentially from the previous owner, which isn't the current owner of this property. And it is unclear to me what kind of agreement the city has in place at this time with the property owner when it comes to parking or any other encroachments that may be on the city property. So my request to the Plan Commission is to table this. I wanted to have the public hearing because it was already noticed properly in the paper, and essentially request that we table this until the following month's meeting where I can clarify some of these issues, and then recommend some sort of approval or denial for this. Because so let me.
Hearing that, I would move to table 7G.
I'll second that.
All right. I have a motion and a second. I do have a question for Matt. Is the applicant expecting this table?
I've talked with the applicant, and they know that's what I'm recommending tonight, and they're, well, they haven't shared any concerns with me
Okay.
about it. I'm pulling it up right now on the GIS. Assuming it actually, and I don't think or from the staff point of view, I'm not, I just want to make sure we have the facts straight when we approve this. I don't have any objection to the parking that is clearly in the city-owned right-of-way. or it appears to be clearly in the city-owned right-of-way. But I think we just need to make sure that the encroachments that are in the city property are known, and, you know, before this body or before staff makes any recommendation to council, I would just want to make sure I kind of know about this. And this is something that kind of came up, I don't want to say last minute, but it came up this week, and it was a concern of mine that, you know, before we went forward, I wanted to have a clear understanding of why we purchased this and what rights, if any, did we give to the property owner when we did purchase it. So I've already contacted the city attorney, and that has not cleared anything. So I'm kind of digging through some files as we speak to try to resolve this. So
Okay.
we have a motion and a second. I just wanted to make sure
Okay.
everybody kind of had that background.
All right. Well, yeah, we have a motion and a second to table, which I guess means we won't worry about discussing it this
No,
month.
I
We'll
just
worry
wanted to
about
give some more
discussing it
context so Plan Commission knew.
next
what-
month.
what- yeah.
So, all right. Any discussion? All right. Otherwise, I guess I'll call the question. All those in favor of tabling this for a future date signify by aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. All right. Moving back up to the agenda, we are moving on to item 8, unfinished business. 8A, deliberate and make recommendation to the council regarding an ordinance to create section 114-19 of the City of Columbus Code of Ordinances establishing individual solar energy systems. This is the big moment, huh, Matt?
This is the one that won't die. It just,
But,
and maybe tonight is the night it
Right.
meets its demise. So I'll give Plan Commission an update. This went to council on February 2nd, and there were a few comments and concerns, and basically at that point they have not moved it forward. Basically, they kind of moved it back here for some more discussion and refinement before it comes back to council. So with that tonight, and I didn't get a chance to really get this out to the Plan Commission ahead of time, based off of that meeting, the city attorney basically redlined a document, the proposed ordinance, and sent it back. This basically incorporated their comments and some of his comments about the ordinance. So I guess what we have is a few options here. We could go through this one by one and try to make another recommendation back to Plan Commission, or I can email this out in a document and we can review this. Plan Commission did indicate there really isn't a time crunch on this, and in all honesty, this started with a project and we had no way of. We didn't have a really good way as a zoning administrator to enforce or to follow up on it, so it was something that I moved forward, but now I'm somewhat regretting that, I guess. The other thing I would also note is the comp plan, is actually getting finally towards the finishing stages, and one of the other things kind of on the heels of the comp plan that we want to update is our zoning ordinance. So there's also, if we just kind of let this sit on the back burner for a while, and this could be incorporated with the zoning ordinance when that is adopted sometime this year is the goal for that. So just throwing those ideas out there. Please let me know what the commissioners want to do on this item.
I guess I'd be interested in at least a run through on this, and I think depending on my personal feeling is that depending on the scope of how drastic this might be, then we can decide whether we want to distribute it and really discuss it more at next meeting after we've had a chance to digest it, or if we feel like it's reasonable to tackle here and now.
Okay. Well, I'll just go through the items that were removed. So that first sentence, or that first strike through under paragraph 4, where it says the supply is part of the energy requirements for improvements on the parcel which the solar energy system is located. That was just cleaning up some language that they found confusing, and after reading through it, I agreed. So that was stricken. The under A was where we put the language talking about having to get an agreement from adjoining property owners. There was some debate on that, and really, with the conditional use process that is in place, neighbors get direct notification. They have every chance to object during that process, and they felt, I guess my interpretation of the discussion was that this basically complicated matters more, and if there was a neighborhood dispute, it would give the opportunity for the neighbor to say no just because they didn't like the neighbor, rather on the merits of the case. So they thought the conditional use still gave the neighbors their say, but it didn't, it didn't give them all the power. It only gave them, so that was that. Under item number 5, under location, basically as a conditional use was just put in there to be consistent with other areas of this ordinance, where getting a solar ordinance is a conditional use. That was more of a clarification type issue. Under placement, one of the items that council said, well, putting it on the front slope of the roof, they're like, we don't know how aesthetically these things are going to change over time, and maybe having that in the ordinance was too restrictive. They still had to go through the conditional use process. So they said, if you're doing it on a conditional use process, that can be as needed rather than having that in ordinance where you have no flexibility, was the mindset. Under C, height, that was just cleaning up something that, I don't want to say a typo, but basically cleaning that up. Item E is a new one, and that was basically one of the items that was addressed was what happens if this is going on a historic home or structure? Would the HLPC have any review? So basically, item E basically requires anybody putting a solar energy system on a historic home that's designated or in a district, they would have to get a certificate of appropriateness from the HLPC. And I believe under decommissioning, there was one, the city felt that having the city basically be in charge of trying to decommission somebody's solar array and then just pass along the expense, that was something they didn't really want to partake in. It's easier probably just to issue some sort of citation and until it is removed, rather than having city staff go out on somebody's roof and remove a solar array. These two items were added by the city attorney, basically to kind of clarify what rules basically the validity of this section compared to other sections of our code. So I guess, and those were the edits as I've received them from our city attorney.
All right, commissioners on Zoom, were you able to follow all that? And if so, do you want to discuss this further? If you weren't able to follow that real easily and would maybe like a hard copy in your mailbox, maybe it is better to offload this for another time. Thoughts? Okay. Anybody else have any strong feelings either way? I tend to want to see a copy of it too and really digest it, so. All right, those things being said, we'll need a motion and a second to make our, it says deliberate and
I
make
think,
recommendation, so, yep.
So essentially, you're just saying that table this to the next meeting? Or,
Yeah, I'll entertain a motion and a second to table this. That'll give Matt a chance to put it in the packet for next time or distribute otherwise.
I'll motion the commission tables item 8A for a cleaner copy review for next commission meeting.
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion and a second for a table on this item. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed? Sorry, opposed, none. Great. We will now move on to 8B. You have some draft chapters for us, Matt?
actually, I probably should have reworded that, but I do have an update on the comprehensive plan. So now, basically, everything that has been reviewed is out on the website. Basically, and the other item I wanted to basically give a quick overview on, and is the mapping is nearly completed. And at this point, I'm ready to start having a PIM kind of unveiling and then public hearing and trying to move this forward to council over the next couple months. It is, the document itself is really pretty much done. I mean, really what it's going to come down to is a few tweaks to the future land use map. And if I just kind of wanted to show you. I need to go through and change the colors yet, but generally speaking, this is the future land use map. There's still a few parcels where I need to go through and I guess clarify what they'll be. To the extent practical, you know, like looking at the Gateway Business Park, I kind of looked at their traffic impact analysis that they completed that showed a variety of uses and tried to replicate that. One of the things that we were talking at staff level is an easier way to do it is I'm going to have two designations, kind of one for the Gateway Business Area, as we're calling it, which is basically Enerpac and everything off of the Highway 73. And then we're also going to have a Highway 16 interchange area that, you know, it's basically a land use on the future land use map that is generalized that will allow for some flexibility. So we're not, you know, if we say this area is all going to be industrial, and then we have like, you know, Summit Credit Union wants to put their corporate headquarters here, it's like, oh wait, that's office. It's giving us some flexibility where it's kind of a blended. And really, when you look out there, that's what it is. It's a mix of retail, it's a mix of office, somewhat, and it's a mix of industrial. So that's really what we're trying to capture. So, in at this point, you know, it's in the, you know, the final stages, and that was really the update that I wanted to kind of show everybody that this is where we're at. It's been something that I've been trying to work hard to get to the finish line because it's sorely needed. So I guess, is there any questions for me about the comprehensive plan or anything they want to see in the upcoming months before we get to adoption?
I don't. Commissioners, did you have any questions about it?
None for me.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, I would, I'm gonna start putting the push out there to go to our website if they wanna read it, and then any questions come to me. Because, generally speaking, 90% of the questions are gonna come on the future land use map. Not to be cynical about all the work I put into it, but nobody really cares about, how many housing units were built, or, well, maybe somebody might care about that, but I mean, nobody cares about, inventorying all our community facilities or utilities, or they may not really care about some of the other aspects that are the boring nuts and bolts that go into the comp plan. But usually what it boils down to is like, well, what do you think my property is gonna be? And quite frankly, 95% of this is gonna stay the same for what a lot of this was like, all right, this is a house, this is gonna be a single family house for the next 20 years. So,
Okay.
okay?
Are you still anticipating a joint meeting between Plan Commission and
Well,
council for the public hearing?
No, I think at this point, I'm just gonna have an open house and invite everybody and make it, and notice it as a joint meeting in case there is a quorum for both. And most likely, what I'm gonna do is the open house is probably gonna lead up to the public hearing. So the open house will be from 5:30 to 6:30, and then, and I'll try to have some, a big map, or what I'll probably do is have that down and basically have the GIS up so people can actually see, and then some other displays in here, and obviously a draft of the document as well. So, but that kind of leads into a question that, and maybe this is best served since we don't have all 7 of our plan commissioners here, is that the city has scheduled a public information meeting on the 11th of March, which is the second Thursday of March. And I need to reschedule the plan commission meeting due to that and the PIM is for the transportation utility that you guys may or may not have heard about, that is being proposed at the city level to help raise some funds for transportation spending for projects. I said that, yeah, we can move our schedule, and quite frankly, it's probably going to help my timeline too. So I'll send out a doodle poll to everybody and try to give a strict deadline for that, so I can post, give the proper Class 2 notice before the public hearing. Okay? Any other?
Is that why next meeting says TBD?
Yes.
Okay. I was wondering about that.
Well, I put that on there on purpose, so I had to talk about it, so.
Good.
I debated putting it as an agenda item, but that was just like, if we didn't have everybody here, I kind of figured I'd have to do some sort of doodle poll to make sure, or email poll to make sure people are available, so.
All right. Anything else on the comp plan, either Matt or any of the commissioners? If there are none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
I have a motion in a couple of seconds. All signify favor
I'll
by
give it to Louis.
saying aye. Aye.
7:40.
None opposed. This meeting is adjourned.
All right, thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
everybody.